Hey, welcome back to the channel, and this is Living in Middle Tennessee, the original. So we are going to talk about exclusive communities, when they got started, why they got started, do you want one, what the pros and cons are. So stick with me and we'll talk about exclusive communities. Okay, when did exclusive communities get started throughout the country? It was really in the 1920s when they supposedly offered a sense of security and a more controlled environment. It appealed to those seeking protection and privacy. Yes, it left out some people and it included others. Could you buy your way in it? Is that right or wrong? We can't do anything about that because that's when it got started, and those were the original premises to that. In today's environment, you're dealing with a whole lot more. It's not just, ooh, keep the bad guys out. Who are those bad guys anyway? The exclusive communities are designed now to be more curtailed to what the demographic is asking for. For instance, 55 and up. Pros and cons to those. We're going to discuss that in a minute. Also, golf communities. Maybe we want those that have pools, those that have clubhouses, those that actually have community events, country club exclusive communities. So there are lots of different offerings in that exclusive community, pros and cons to it, we're going to discuss right now. So when we're still talking about the history of these exclusive communities, or even considered luxury communities, in the 1960s, gated communities became popular as retirement destinations, offering low maintenance of living and a sense of community for their seniors. You had things that were offered to the maintenance of the outside grounds of the home. These people had dealt with everything in their house for years, and they just wanted to have a home inside that on the outside was maintained beautifully and consistently throughout the neighborhood. Now, we still do that. We still offer those. I touched on 55 and up communities. There are a lot of people that really just want that. It's not that they don't like their kids. It's not that they don't like your kids. It's that maybe they just don't want to live around the school bus zone. Maybe they don't want to have to deal with that as they're coming and going. It doesn't mean that they don't love kids, okay? But they do maybe want to associate with more people that are in their age group, and so they look for that kind of exclusivity. Does that target a specific demographic for buying and selling? Of course it does. They have to be 55 and up. Therefore, a con of that could be you have less people that are buying into that later when you go to sell your property. So that's something to think about. A pro to that kind of community is that it does have events and activities that are absolutely geared towards a certain age group. They may have pickleball courts, they may have all the fun things. They may even have the clubhouse with the splash pad for those people, of course, that may have grandchildren that come to visit, but they may have time periods that allow those visitors to stay so as not to change their actual demographic or HOAs and covenants that absolutely restrict long-time visitors or actual renting situations. A lot of people want to have their home next to other home owners. So those are things that could happen in 55 and up. Also, one of the pros, of course, it can be considered both, is of course it has HOA fees and covenants that cover all the common areas and all the things that they do. But also a con could be that because it may be a smaller, more exclusive and intimate community, that HOA fee could be a lot higher. So things to consider when you're talking about that specific type of community. Some exclusive communities may have, more focus on some eco practices, some self-sufficiency and sustainability to consider as well. Now, a long time ago, I lived in California. It's been 2 decades now that I've been back. And I remember that we had some exclusive neighborhoods that were for people that needed a hangar for their airplane. So unless you had your own jet or your own small commuter plane, You might not want to live there, but absolutely the streets were wider for the landing. You absolutely had a bay that was a garage type thing for your private plane. That's kind of cool, but it's also exclusive and it's different. So things to consider when you're looking at some of these exclusive places to live, and we're going to talk about those things that are important to you when you get on your one-on-one call with me, and after we talk to our lender and make sure that we are dealing with the type of exclusivity that you feel like paying for based upon your needs. Okay, exclusive communities come in all shapes and sizes. They come in all areas around the Nashville area and southern Kentucky. Exclusive communities are defined by many different things. There are some people that actually want to have an all-inclusive community. That can be exclusive on its own. It has townhomes, it has, single family homes, it has one-level flats, it backs up to a country club, it includes its own private club. Being a homeowner in there would give you an actual membership to that club. There are exclusive communities that are centered around the lake. There are centered around golf courses. They're centered around shopping. They have their own shopping and restaurants inside of those. And being someone who lives in the community may not offer you some discounts at the shopping, but it absolutely gives you first rights to get into that store before the general public can come. Does it still serve the general public? Those are things that we'll look at when we're talking about the things that are important to you. When we talk about country clubs and clubs in all sorts of areas of the Nashville area, you're not always going to be able to get in. They may have extra, and that's the truth. They may have extra things that require you to be considered other than just the money and the ability to pay that entrance fee. Some clubs, and I know this to be true, one of them in particular, very well thought of, very old, very preferable in terms of a lot of people's decisions, requires you to have 30 references in your age group and 30 other references, even if you have the money to buy in 35 times, okay? Which is also a lot, by the way. So those are things that, knowing that you've bought into a certain area and now you can be a member of this club, that's not necessarily true. So some of these enhanced luxury communities or exclusive communities might offer you the opportunity to have all the things that you want and actually do it in your community and not be excluded from something else. Those are things that we talk about. Hey, my kids are active in sports. Hey, I want to live in a neighborhood where it's lots of children who are going to go to school with my children, and I want them to have friends in the summer. I'd love for it to have lakes where they could fish, even if they got to throw it back. Those are called drainage easements, but they usually are stocked. But those are lovely things to talk about that mean something to you. Hey, I want a gated community. I want to know who's in my community. I want no soliciting in my community. Those things are things that the community has to take care of together. I want a community that has at least a 3rd-acre lot. I want to know that my neighbors are X amount of age, and they are going to be similar to me in that retirement status or in that age group. Those are some of the things that define these exclusive communities, these age-oriented communities. Some of them historically were driven, by the need, like I said before, extra need for safety and a preference for a more controlled environment. When they have a lot of homes in them, various homes from condos to single family to bigger environments, those communities oftentimes have less expensive HOAs because you have more units actually contributing to that HOA. Depending on the type of amenities the place has, determines, of course, the amount of insurance they have to carry on it. Do we do things as a community group? And are we invited to that? Yes, as a community, you're always invited if that is something that the community does. I think that's really neat about these exclusive communities, and I think it's something to consider when you're moving to the Nashville area. Let's say you don't know anybody. Let's say you don't really get to go into the office because you work from home and remotely. So sometimes these exclusive communities can really give you that sense of a new friendship situation because you're able to develop that when normally other people are developing that at work and other social situations. So there's a lot to say about exclusive communities, and there's a lot to discuss one-on-one. So when you're coming to town and you want to see some homes, but you're not sure that you're definitely going to live here yet, let's get on our one-on-one call. Let me send you my Relo Guide. My Relo Guide has a lot of things for you to look at about Nashville and talk to you about the different areas of Nashville. And in that, you will find some different things that may be of interest to you, and you can go look while you're driving around thinking about whether you're going to live in Nashville. We'll get on a Zoom call. We'll talk about all things you. We want to know everything that is important to you so we can find the right place for you. Maybe it's living downtown in the Gulch where you feel like the whole thing's exclusive to you based upon your age group. Maybe it's being close and in that inner city, offering of all that fun, nighttime, downtown, everything Nashville, big Nashville, that you see on TV. That's pretty cool. Maybe it's, I want to live in the suburbs and I don't want to get in there to downtown Nashville unless I have to go to work or do the things that I want to do, like shop in some of those exclusive stores. So we want to get on our one-on-one call. We definitely want to call my lender. His details are down in the comments, and I want you to definitely do that so you feel comfortable talking about what is financially right for you and your family. And then we'll go look together when we know you're going to be here and we know your timeline. We definitely want to talk about things that are important to you. Some people don't want HOA. Well, if you don't want an HOA, you're not going to want one of these exclusive communities because they're going to have them. HOAs were defined to actually keep the elevatedness of the community and to also pay for some of the insurance on the common areas. Those sidewalks you walk on, well, they have to be maintained. Those lakes you walk around, well, they have to be maintained. If something were to happen to you in those communities, that pays for that insurance on those areas to protect the community itself from all the, the homeowners that live in that community don't want to pay for your fall. But there are things about these exclusive communities that we want to define on a one-on-one, and they're not all the same. They're not all in the same area. We offer so much in the Nashville and surrounding areas that we really want to talk about that. What's right for you, what you're thinking. Do you want to stay in or out of an exclusive community? So thanks for listening. As always, we'll be back next week with another video. But leave your comments down below. Feel free to call me or text me or DM me. I definitely want to approach what is important to you. And let's talk about whether one of these exclusive communities, based on the things you find important to you, are where we need to go. Thanks so much for watching.